Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be analysing my final project, Cosmic Love, including all of the elements such as editing, mise-en-scene and camera shots. To create the opening scene, I used a close-up pan of a nature shot which ended in a pull focus. This was to create a calm tone which suited the low energy at the start of the song and matched the slower pace. The slow zooms in and out of the vintage piano covered in flowers highly suits my target audience, who are interested in things such as playing the piano, instruments, and that of nature. The prop of a candle introduces the idea that part of the video will be taking place in low-key lighting. It also creates a safe environment which matches the slow-paced nature shots. Here we can see a pan taking place, and this allows the audience to see where the artist will be performing. It was essential that I kept to my stage scene plan and put the lighting on the left, around the microphone, and candles surrounding the area. As you can see, the torch that I used behind the camera created a nice shadow against the wall from where the microphone stand lay. Likewise, the use of musical props such as the microphone and the drum kit imply that there will be an artist performing here. I also included a twig around the drums to introduce the theme of nature and lay leaves across the floor of where she will be standing. I wanted to use an out-of-focus shot with a lens flare, as it's very typical of indie music videos, and it also appeals to the audience who appreciate photography and nature. The low-angle shot which pans from her feet to her head creates suspense as we can't see her face, and also by the effect of not having direct address, it feels like the audience is overlooking a situation that we're not meant to be in. The idea that we are an onlooker is introduced again by the fact that the artist's eyes are closed and we cannot make this connection with her. Also, the effect of the pink filter highlights how the video is aimed at a younger audience. Once again, I've used a series of pans going up the body, down the body, left and right. This creates a continuous flow of the video. Also, this is the first time that we see a conceptual idea conveyed. The use of the body language, whereby the artist's hands are in front of her eyes and eyes are painted onto her hands, suggests the idea that she's been taken over by the demons and can't see rationally, and the demons inside of her are taking control of her body. This also links the lyrics to the visuals, as it says, "And now it's left me blind." In contrast, this handheld shot puts the audience in the point of view of the artist, as if we're running away from something. As a result, it feels as though something foreboding and dangerous will happen, creating suspense. I really wanted to emphasize the 3 drum beats in the climax of the song, which is repeated in every chorus. To do this, I used a video of Izzy hitting the drums twice, and then on the third one doing a close-up slow-motion shot of the rice on the drum. Differently to the rest of the music video, this is when we create a connection with the character, and because of the mid-shot and the direct address, it feels like we're getting an exclusive insight into her emotions and thoughts. Here I use the technique of shadowing to create the image of a large hand against the wall by putting a torch behind my hand, and this appeared as if something was coming down and pushing her onto the bed, which was really effective. The symbolism of this is as if she's being controlled by some other force, or in this case it could be the demons inside of her again, but being physically shown outside of her on the wall. I included a shot of a car as well as a jump cut walking closer to it. as it was very vintage and matched the other shot of the piano at the start that was overgrown with flowers, and I think this would appeal to the indie audience that I've got. This very close-up shot shows the artist singing the lyrics "No dawn, no day," and this links the image, which is quite dark in itself due to the low-key lighting, to the visuals. Also, we get to see the performance elements as she's singing into a microphone on the piano. This slightly longer shot of a shadow of a heart being formed by two hands introduces the theme of love, if this wasn't already implied through the lyrics beforehand. So this just justifies it to the audience that it is about a relationship. Pink colour also symbolises the theme of love. The use of body language here, as my artist isn't facing the front and is surrounded by the props of candles in a very dark shot, portrays the demonic image. During the editing process, I changed this section to make it fast forward and sped up, and this again, like at the start, puts the audience in the point of view of the artist as if they're running away from something. In this case, the artist is running away from her emotions. I then decided to include this shot of a skeleton because I felt that, like the overgrown piano and the vintage car, it all tied into this indie style, but also the theme of depression would imply death through the skeleton. My artist lying on the floor looks very possessed as she sits up, and she's surrounded by leaves and lights and candles, and I think this fits in with the idea that she's being controlled by demons. Also, the fact that we're at a high angle appears as if we are onlookers again. The same idea is portrayed here, and the fact that the shot is out of focus symbolises possibly the artist's own confusion, and we are seeing that through the unclear image through the camera lens. The effect of the artist jumping in the air and the colour changes due to the filters of pinks and purples, as well as the artist ripping off her skirt, symbolises how her anger is heightening. At this point, we can see that there's a lot of anger in the character, portrayed by her serious facial expression. The popping of the pink balloon, which is stamped on by the stiletto shoe, symbolises how she feels that the relationship has reached its lowest point, and she's doubting herself so much that it feels like it's ended. I wanted to create a really strong build up to the next chorus because this is when she'll be angriest, and I did this by using quicker shots which increased the pace, and in this one I used a torch which flashes behind her to make the lighting seem as if it's very chaotic. This is a pivotal moment in my music video as the hand actually touches her chest and creates a connection with Rue between the demons and herself, and this is when the video becomes the angriest as she's full of self-doubt about her relationship and enters into the depressed state. When I came to editing this video, I used a fast forward again because it seemed as if she's being possessed. This low angle shot where Rue raises her hands up towards her head with her eyes closed with a very heavy shadow in the background is linking the lyrics to the visuals again, as it says, "And then with darkness I became." Drum beat, there is again the fast forward head motion, and we go back into the repeat of the drums. The aggressive nature in which the drum is hit suggests this anger in the character as she's hitting the drum in a very violent manner. Here I've used a pink filtered slow motion of Izzy, or Rue, throwing her head to the right and her hair is being tossed to the side. This is almost like a flashback as it reminds the audience of what she used to be rather than how she is in this depressed and angry state. The use of shadows again, which pull up on her chest, creates the illusion that she's being controlled by another force again, and it's almost as if the demons are toying or playing with her, and it's quite dramatic. The zooming in of the eye, drawn onto the hand, is symbolic of how this part of Rue is not her true identity, it's just the demons taking over her and is a side effect of the depression. Here is the expressive dance in a fast-forward shot with flashing torchlights in the background. This presents the atmosphere as very chaotic and contrasts to the initial pan of the scene at the start of the video. Here I've repeated the clip before that was a fast motion shot of Izzy rolling her head in a circular motion, and I also used a rewind here to emphasize how she's being controlled and possessed. This high angle shot of Rue or Izzy on the floor shaking with her hands still with the eyes drawn on, it feels like an invasion of her privacy as we're watching a private moment. I feel like here is when we really sympathise for the character. This aggressive body language is highly influenced by my research, which was into one of the episodes from Once Upon a Time, a character called the Seer, a fortune teller. We could therefore compare Rue to this mythical evil creature. This shot has a video effect on it to make the daylight look like nighttime, linking into the theme of the song being cosmic love set at night. However, at the end, I changed the fast forward to a slow motion. This is to very clearly demonstrate that there's going to be a change in tone and a crucial moment of change for the character. The high key lighting in combination with the soft lime green playsuit covered in gold, which could be symbolic of nature and leaves, matches in with the very natural makeup with a pink lip. This is to contrast to the whole rest of the song because it's a state of innocence for the character as she finds out that in her relationship everything that she doubted was wrong because her boyfriend did in fact love her. There was just a massive misunderstanding. The slow motion close-up shot of the fingers tracing along her neck also portrays this purity and innocence as there's a sense of nakedness about her. I could find my way back, then I heard your heart beating, you were in the darkness too, so I stayed in the darkness with you. Likewise, the slow motion close-up shot of Izzy's face allows the audience to assess her facial expression. Izzy appears serious but gentle, suggested by the pink-coloured lipstick which appears very feminine and soft. This shot also creates suspense before the climax builds again and the energy increases. The slow motion shot of the dandelion being blown as it sheds its flowers is symbolic of how Rue is going through a transitioning stage, like the flower. It also helps to create a natural transition from one shot to the next. As the chorus returns, so does the energy and high pace, therefore I've repeated the shot of the drum and the slow motion shot of the rice on top of the drum to once again bring the high energy back up in contrast to the shots before. Here we see the artist smiling with a very happy, open facial expression and lots of direct eye contact to create a bond with the audience. This is combined with nature shots and slow motions of the artist laughing, as well as natural shots of her. This really appeals to the indie fans because we feel like we're getting to know the real side of Rue. In terms of the narrative, Rue began at the start feeling as though she was in a one-sided relationship as her boyfriend did not love her back. That is where we saw her very angry, depressed and isolated. However, during the costume change, we saw her very innocent and we realised that she's had a misunderstanding as her boyfriend does in fact love her. Here we see she's going to be at one with the darkness but happy as she's found out that her relationship is a lot better than she first realised. The artist's use of expressive dance such as throwing her hands in the air and moving them in a tribal or Bollywood style is symbolic of how she feels free. In combination with the happy smiling facial expression, it creates a happy tone. I consciously decided to match the audio with the visuals, so when there's a large bang, we see the artist from behind jumping up on the same beat. This helps to make the video seem more professional and believable. The light glowing on one half of her body appears very magical. The use of tracking here in a 360-degree motion around the artist puts emphasis on her actions and makes her the centre of our attention as we're moving ourselves around her. The effect of levels in this shot shows the artist crouching on the floor. As she stands up and opens her arms, she becomes physically larger and more superior, powerful, and presented as a strong, independent woman. I added a video filter here called Glow, which causes the artist to appear as if they're illuminated against the dark, low-key background. This adds a dreamlike fantasy feel. Once again, I've used a tracking shot which goes 360 degrees around the artist, putting our focus completely on her. This serious facial expression, including her eyes looking up towards the night sky, presents the artist as almost accepting her fate. To create the high energy tone, I used a flashing torch onto the artist's body as she was in the darkness, which lit up her face, and this created a very fast-paced mood matching the song. Fast forward effect here as we come to see the artist's face illuminated in the darkness. This expressive dance strongly appeals to the indie audience. In this scene we have a mid-shot which turns into a zoom and a close-up shot, and we can clearly see the artist's facial expression is extremely happy. This slow motion scene of Rue walking towards the camera with her eyes slightly to the side of the lens appears very motivated, driven and self-assured. As a result, it contrasts to her character at the start, which was much weaker, emphasizing her progression as an individual. I really wanted to use the power of space in the final shot to create a lasting effect for the audience that would be very memorable. And the positioning of Rue within this frame puts her at the centre of our attention for the final time. The use of body language as Rue stands with her feet firmly apart and her hands raised towards her side with her fingers outstretched seems very, very strong. As an audience, we feel a sense of satisfaction as Rue has developed so much from the beginning and is now standing in a place where she is much happier and sure of who she is. Likewise, due to the glow filter I put on the video and the shape which her body makes, she appears like a star, linking to the song being called Cosmic Love and the surroundings of her being darkness. Finally, the use of the handheld shot zooming out, leaving her alone, appears as if everything that's happened to her is being put into perspective, and it creates a sense of poetic justice and satisfaction. The effect of the pan leaving the shot in complete darkness is very slow, and this slow pace is very similar to the start of the video, bringing in the idea that it's all cyclical and it ends as it begins.